Okay, thank you very much. The narrative of the talk, we've had two excellent ones already. What came out from both of that is all of this is about human behaviour. And what happens with these insights is they have a translational value. They not only have a translational value clinically, that Colin was picking up, but they've got a translational value globally within this area of consumer products. What people stick on themselves, in themselves, cars they buy, the things they purchase, are all determined by liking mechanisms, things that this thing does. My 15 years at Unilever taught me a phenomenal amount about how to understand human behaviour. In fact, it's where Robin and I first put some of these ideas together. It's very privileged to have Roger Leech here, who is now got a massive job, looking at where Unilever, where a multinational company interfaces with academic groups around the world, feed the ideas that's coming in from academia into industry and vice versa. And there are enormous opportunities there at interface for academic groups to plug in the translational opportunities that exist within industry. And Roger will give some landscape view of just what those interfaces are like, operating in ways you may not have even thought about in terms of the relationships and their value. So Roger, thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thanks very much, Francis, for the opportunity to sort of come along today and tell you a little bit about Unilever R&D, and a little bit about open innovation. I think I should probably start by saying I have absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with the field of neuroscience or behavioural science or anything like this. My training was in microbiology, so I worked with bacteria, which, as they don't have brains, are marginally less intelligent than the average human. So in most of the work that I do at the moment, I'm the operations director for our long-term science area, which is basically a group of scientists who work across 4 of our global R&D labs. And the second side of my job is, as Francis was saying, is actually making frameworks with universities where we can grow together in areas of science that are particularly relevant to Unilever. So what I'd like to do is to sort of take you through the picture of what Unilever is and its strategy, because I hope that when you understand that, you can see a little bit about how we feed everything into that. But more importantly, and shown really by this slide, we interface with some 2 billion consumers every day. Now that has a very, very strong implication for areas of behavioural science and neuroscience, simply because we have a very big platform on which to build, and if we are to achieve the options, the opportunities that we're trying to take forward, we need to be able to understand our consumers and actually work with them in terms of the changes that we're trying to make to industry going forward. So, the important bit about the purpose and the strategy of Unilever is really in that very first sentence in the top left. Our purpose is to make sustainable living commonplace. We have a very strong and driving ambition to actually change the nature of the world to make it more sustainable. We recognise the difficulty that government has in making that transition. Big organisations are in quite an enviable position to be able to help to influence that change to a sustainable workplace and a sustainable community going forward. I think it's very true that unless we're successful in this, then our business is probably not going to be operational in many years' time, simply because we're going to be running short of materials and our ability to actually sort of use those materials. So we have a strategy that basically says we're going to double the size of our business. It's a nice target to sort of work to. At the same time, reducing our environmental impact. The initial idea